Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of of Venu's Cricket Catch Up on Quality Shot. Fizan's with me once again. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm all good. It's okay. We are on Quality Shot as well, so that's not a hiccup. And yeah, I'm excited for the 23rd edition. So we're racking through these weekly, which is good fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing the week's goings on. I don't think there's been some interesting topics, but not a huge amount of cricket played, but some issues and kind of news, I guess, to discuss, which might be quite cool and interesting to get people's views on as well.
Yes. Before we get onto that big news story, let's, as you know, we're both fans of Test cricket. So at the moment, Pakistan are currently bossing Zimbabwe at the moment. After a fantastic 251 by who, Fizan again?
Abid Ali.
Abid Ali, who carried his bat, his opener managed to carry his bat, and Hassan Ali from Zimbabwe's reply got 5 wickets. Pakistan and Zimbabwe followed on after that. Pakistan need 1 wicket on the 4th day, I believe, to win the first Test match.
Yeah, we do, and I think we've got our first couple of questions or
comments. Oh, we do. Oh, it's Cryptic. You're right, Cryptic. Baba had made 2 runs in 3 innings. Assalamu alaikum. Alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam. I was close.
Yeah, you're close. Yeah, Baba has made 2 runs in 3 innings, but I don't think it's a cause for concern. Yeah, everyone goes through little patches, and I'd rather he didn't get runs against someone like Zimbabwe and then got runs against the bigger teams. His averages against the so-called centre countries is very good. The South Africa, England, New Zealand, Australia, like I think he averages 60 plus. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, from a Pakistan point of view, fantastic. I mean, we're playing away from home. Yes, it is Zimbabwe, but it's still, on away soil. And for us to, I guess, wrap up the first Test match by an innings was fantastic. And it looks like we might do the same in this one as well. Only a wicket needed on day 4. And they trail by 158 runs. So I would assume that's going to happen pretty soon. John Joy looks like he's, the last bit of resistance on 31 or 51 not out. But Musrabani's in, and he saw 12 balls for a duck. For 0 so far. 0 runs out even. Shaheen Afridi got 4 and Naman Ali 5 in the second innings of Zimbabwe. So, good to see though. And let's see how it goes. But obviously the 215 not out was fantastic to see. And Azhar Ali 126. Great to see that as well.
And Cryptic saying Baba moving down in ranking at a tremendous rate. He is. I think he used to be number 1, didn't he?
No. So so he's number 1 in ODIs at the moment. He's number 2 in T20s, but in Test matches he's never been number 1. He has been in the top 3 before. I think he was number 3 at one point, but he's moved down from number 5 to number 9 after the first Test match, and obviously this won't help not getting runs in this one.
But why? Why do you think he's struggling at the moment, Fizan? Is there any particular reason whilst you watched him this Test match, or maybe flaw in his technique, which Zimbabwe have manipulated?
Yeah, I think maybe he obviously likes to play those full flowing drives, and I think maybe people are normally cautious about bowling to that early doors, but I think early on is maybe the way to do that, to bowl in that area, give him a little bit of width, a bit fuller, and kind of say, you know what, he might play an out of control shot, right, and it might fall to hand, and that's what's happened really in both innings. And I do think there's an element of actually he's just unfortunately, it happens at times. Sometimes you get out cheaply, and even the best of us, like Kohli, averaged 19 last year in Test cricket. So I think, look, he may have a bad year. It happens, but I'm more looking at this as being a blip, and after this series he'll get back onto it. So I think more it's a mental side of things rather than kind of technical. I mean, yes, he was leaning back and the second time he got out when he was driving on the up, and that was probably, I mean, we know that's not right, playing away from his body, but he'll know that, and normally he won't play like that. I think it's just a lapse in concentration for me.
Yeah, and he's going through a blip in form at the moment, a bit like you, Fizan, in the start of the season. Hopefully things will improve. No comeback, Fizan.
No comeback. I'll just take it on the chin.
Okay, fair enough. Incha, the bubble will improve his test rankings. And next one is so what's the next for Pakistan cricket when PSL? So shall we start with the PSL is on? So the latest I've heard is the PSL is going to restart and potentially in the UAE. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's due to restart June 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Great news.
Final 21st of June or something like that, 20th of June. But yeah, so all the franchises from Pakistan have basically said, like, we want it to be in the UAE, probably citing, well, in India at the moment it's horrific, and also it's worth noting, look, obviously our best wishes are with everyone in India, like hopefully it gets better. In Pakistan as well, it is pretty bad. It's not as bad as India, but it is still not fantastic there. So in the UAE they seem to have it under control, and the bubble seems to be very tight and strict, and they have external management companies overseeing it, etc. as well. So yes, they probably would have to fork out more money for it, but in terms of a player welfare and also security, I guess, point of view, they will be looking at that as probably the safest options. Yes, it's not ideal to have it not in Pakistan, considering it's called the Pakistan Super League. Similarly, with the Indian Premier League, it's not ideal to have that in UAE. But I think, given the current climate and circumstances, I'm happy for it to be in the UAE. And the UAE have done a very good job. They did a very good job with the PSL. It was last year. And similarly, they did a good job with the IPL, the previous one as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for it to be there. I wouldn't mind if, to be honest, the IPL restart and the PSL restart got cancelled, and then we saw the World Cup instead, as in like we just saw that, because I think that takes precedent. But I think for now, it looks like the PSL will restart in the UAE. That's what I think is the murmurings anyway.
That's good news, and I'm assuming teams will stay the same. Like you can't. I'm sure there's some international players that have been freed up from not playing IPL now. So could they join the PSL, or are the teams the same, squads the same?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. No, I think so. Obviously, they've done the replacement draft that we talked about, where they had Andre Russell, Shakib Al Hassan, who else? Martin Guptill, to name a few. But there wouldn't have been a overlap anyway, because the IPL would have finished before that. I think the only issue you might have had is the quarantining beforehand.
Correct.
So they might have missed a couple of the games for the PSL, but obviously I don't think they're going to have a change there. If I'm being honest with you, unless we have some pullouts from the replacement draft, and then obviously they bring in substitute players, which can happen. But I think obviously the players that are being picked, I don't think you can just say, sorry, we don't want you anymore. I think that's it now. They're kind of nailed on, unless they leave themselves or they exclude themselves.
Okay, that's fair enough. Oh, your camera went off for a bit, but yeah, fair enough. In terms of, as you've just said earlier, Fazan, about the IPL obviously being postponed after COVID is it's currently horrific in India, and all our best wishes with everyone in India and all the people there. So we got postponed this week. So all the international players managed to leave. I think Australia players are currently basing out in the Maldives until everything gets sorted. But definitely the right call to postpone it. That's for sure, Fizan. Wouldn't you agree? But my only question to you is, do you think they left it a bit too late to make that call?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think. Yeah, I mean, firstly, yes, it was definitely the right call to postpone it, and let's see what happens. I think they're looking to restart it in September. Of course, I don't watch it, but I know what's going on with it. So, yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I would say it's the right call. Was it too late? Potentially, because I know some of the international players started leaving, and they were already a little bit skeptical about the tightness of the bubble and how safe it was. And actually, they cited, like Adam Zampa, for example, cited feeling uncomfortable, and that's why he left. And basically said, look, the UAE bubble was a lot better in terms of security-wise. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing I could say is, realistically, look, in India, the situation is horrific. It's really bad. And I think I showed the map of like what's been going on around that stadium where the IPL is being played. And it is literally carnage, like literal carnage. It's really sad to see. So I think maybe from a human point of view and kind of from a human aspect, I probably would have liked it to have been stopped earlier as soon as things got really bad, because I think you like all efforts and all attention needs to be put on putting a stop to it. I understand there was a rhetoric of, it's a good distraction, etc. But really, I think when it comes down to it, there's more important things in sport, and people need to be aware of that rather than kind of being ignorant to the fact that they need to be careful, they need to be looking after themselves, they need to be helping, they need to be, being kind of very aware of this rather than kind of being in their own world watching the IPL where they're completely oblivious to what's going on outside. And I feel like in India and other countries as well, like when it comes to franchise cricket, at times it's so unfortunately, it's almost like a religion at times to people there that they get so caught up in it, they forget what's going on outside. So, yeah, I mean, I personally would have liked it to have been stopped earlier, but look, I mean, it's happened now. It is what it is, but they've stopped it. And hopefully, if they are going to restart in September, it's under very strict protocols. And I think it would have to be in the UAE. Whether they can find that time window, I'm sure they'll do their best, because I think apparently they might lose hundreds of millions or something from it. And you can imagine the IPL and the franchises will want to restart it probably ASAP.
But the issue comes on surely that coincides with the men's T20 World Cup in India, and they need to think about that. And also, would that go ahead in India? I mean, there's talks about, as Cryptic correctly as mentioned just now, that the World Cup in the UAE. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of it coinciding with the T20 World Cup, I think what they do is they maybe shorten, or they do double headers like every day in early September and then kind of get out of the way. But I guess the only thing you might say is that will the players be burnt out then going into the World Cup? It's not really ideal, probably. Although if it is going to be in the UAE and then the World Cup's in the UAE, then they don't have to quarantine. So if they don't have to quarantine, then that's probably, that kind of definitely solves one issue. But yes, yeah, I think the World Cup should definitely be in the UAE if it's going to go ahead. And I would rather, I think we've said this, I'd rather the T20 World Cup goes ahead. If it was a case of I had a choice of the IPL and the PSL going ahead and not the T20 World Cup, or the T20 World Cup going ahead and not the franchises, then of course I'd want the World Cup to go ahead. So let's hope that so let's hope that goes ahead, and also goes ahead in the UAE probably is the safest bet. And we get a full tournament and a good tournament. And I mean, that's I think that I'm most looking forward to in terms of, I think, competition cricket for the rest of the year. So yeah, should be good.
Yeah. We should see how that unfolds over the next couple of weeks. So one final thing I think we need to talk about is the county championship. I think the second round of matches have come to a conclusion here in the UK. So James, big was a big Notts win against Essex, and Sanderson and Berkshire 90 wickets as Northamptonshire for Sussex. Also Kent and Yorkshire drew. Lancashire drew with Glamorgan. Somerset beat Hampshire due to an excellent all-round display by Craig Overton. So yeah, some good results all around. So yeah, anything you'd like to add to that, Fizan?
No, I mean, obviously there was a lot of delays in play because of rain, etc. So I think most of the matches were drawn.
Yes.
From what I know. Obviously, I guess I've got vested interest in Surrey. Mark Stoneman hit 100 and Rory Burns. Good to see him back in form, because obviously he will be starting, I'm sure, the first Test match for England in the summer, and will be under some pressure. I would imagine 75 of 139 balls for him. So good little knock for him. And yeah, I mean, apart from that, Amir Verdi got 6 wickets for Surrey as well, but did go for 171 runs or 44 overs. So he put in a very big shift there, but obviously getting some success as well. And I guess the only other point is Labuschagne struggling at the moment in the county championship. For Glamorgan it is. He's batting obviously 3, his preferred position. Got out to Darren Stevens, in the previous match. Darren Stevens got an LBW. This time it was James Anderson, by many the English bowling GOAT, nicked behind to the keeper, I think it was, in Villas, and sorry, to slip even. Sorry, it was the wicketkeeper even, sorry, in Dane Villas and captain. And yeah, I mean, James Anderson obviously bowling really well. Of course, the Ashes is going to be in Australia this year, if I'm not mistaken. So it will be different conditions, but I think the fact that Labuschagne is willing to play in these conditions is very good, because it probably will improve his game monumentally more than it already has, which is pretty frightening. But so far, it's been a tough start for him. But he's such a class player. I'm sure he will come back with vengeance no matter what.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see how England fare in Australia later on this year, and also I think England, New Zealand is in the month at the beginning of June. So I'm really looking forward to that. How the performances in the county championship, how they'll dictate who play for England in that first Test match. But also, I think it's more or less sorted the lineup, and I'm sure they'll rotate the fast bowlers. I think that's all the cricket for this week. A bit, obviously, quite short. Obviously, no IPL. Obviously, the Pakistan-Zimbabwe series going ahead, which is good. Shall we move on to the awards for this week?
Yeah, we can.
And let me make sure to change the banner. I remembered. So first up, star of the week has to be Abid Ali, Fizan. 215.
Yeah. I mean, he got a double ton, so I think it's probably hard not to. Yeah, I mean, his first ever double 100. I think it's the joint highest top score in Zimbabwe by a Pakistani batsman. I think someone else got 215. But yeah, not out, carried his bat, and really impressive knock by him. And I think he's definitely been under a little bit of pressure. So for him to get runs against Zimbabwe, of course, it is Zimbabwe. I understand it's not a top team, but it hopefully puts him in good stead come the rest of the Test matches for the rest of the year, and also kind of going forward, especially away from home, because I think in Pakistan he is very solid.
Yeah, correct. Has to be him. Hassan Ali also had an impressive performance with the ball. Who's the tail under who got?
Oh, actually, Naman Ali, he has a stake as well. So he got 97, and he also got a fifer today as well. So he's a left-arm spinner. So he got 97 off 104 balls as well. So 9 fours, 5 sixes, strike rate 93, and then he also picked up a fifer today. So I mean, to be fair, he's a very close second.
Yeah, I'll give him a second. I think double century, I think beats. If Norman only got 100, then I probably would have given it to him. But because he didn't get 100, and 105 wickets is a impressive feat. But
is it, as you would say, isn't it crazy how much of a difference 3 runs makes?
100%. Cricket is a game of milestones, that's for sure. So well done, Abid Ali, for getting star of the week and player of the week. For this week, team of the week, I'd say has to be Pakistan. Fizan. They've been impressive this Test match against Zimbabwe. Clinical and ruthless at the same time.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to see us being clinical. Where I think that's not. I've said it a couple of times. Like, it's not really a word that you normally associate with Pakistan. But yeah, I mean, there's not been a huge amount of cricket on to kind of compare, really. So I think apart from the county championship, where a lot of the games were drawn, I think it's probably Pakistan is probably the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. In terms of player that needs to do the homework, I haven't been watching much of the Zimbabwe batting, but surely has to be one of the batters or one of the players. I'm not too sure who to give it to, but in terms of team needs to do the homework, it's probably Zimbabwe.
In terms of player, one of the openers, Musakanda, got out for 0 and then 8 in both innings. So I mean, that's probably something that he needs to work on. Got out LBW and then nicked behind in the second one. So a couple of, I don't know whether it might just be a golfing class, but if they want to persist with him and he wants to be performing at this top level, then obviously there's some technical deficiencies he needs to work through for sure.
Okay, and that's
actually, and Labuschagne as well, to be fair, because Labuschagne's been struggling, and he's a top player. Well, he's perceived as one. Yeah, we can
selling as well, so that adds adds to it. Yeah. So Labuschagne, do your homework, mate. You better be. I bet all the Aussies want you to do well, especially at the end of the year. In terms of favorite team that needs to do the homework, is probably Zimbabwe. Let's think of the moment of the week, Fazan. What's been your moment of the week? Abid Ali 2-on-5 or Norman Ali's onslaught at the end?
I think Noman Ali's onslaught was really impressive to see because I think we've struggled in the past to have people, I think, have that firepower towards the bottom of the order. So for him to kind of come in and do that, I think was very impressive, and it's good to see, and it's nice to see more and more people doing that for Pakistan. We've obviously got Hassan Ali as well, so I think overall impressive stuff from him. And yeah, I mean that's been good to see. That would be my moment of the week, is that kind of onslaught at the end to push us beyond 500, which I haven't seen Pakistan get a score above 500 in a bit of time.
Yeah, that's impressive for sure. No, and you're right. I think the word being used to describe Pakistan more and more is clinical, and they're definitely in all formats. So definitely team improving every month. So yeah, some impressive performances. In terms of funniest moment of the week, I don't think IPL being postponed is a funny moment.
No, it's not. No, I think a lot of people have said that there's a bit of, what's the word, like karma and stuff, but I don't think it's really a funny moment. I don't think really. I think I don't know. I don't know what's a funny moment. I think maybe the way that it was reported was a bit funny. Like there was a lot of, oh, they don't have COVID. It's just they're just a bit ill. They're just a bit ill, and don't worry, they'll recover. And the next thing there's like 10 people that've got it, and it's not surprising. Like obviously, wish them all the best, etc. But I thought that was a little bit comical in the way that was handled. I think they could have handled it a bit better and been a bit more open and honest about it. But there's a lot of money on the line, so that's probably why, unfortunately, it's handled in. Yeah, money talks.
Yeah, well said there, Fazan. And in terms of what you're looking forward to over the coming weeks, I'm looking forward to Zimbabwe beating Pakistan. This test match, they still can do it.
In this one, yeah, that would be. I tell you what, that would be a very impressive win if they do that.
It'll be the best win of all time.
It definitely would be, yeah.
So unless, but it's a Pakistan win,
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, there's not obviously tomorrow is that. Sorry,
the second test match. Looking forward to.
This is a second test match.
Oh, who won the first one? Pakistan as well.
By an innings, yeah.
So surely the ODI series will start, or the T20 series will start.
That's already happened, Venu.
Okay.
So there's no cricket apart from county championship next week.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it can be more of a fun kind of. Maybe we can come up with some kind of like fantasy team or something, or debate something during the video or something. Maybe put something together. That'll be quite fun.
2021 so far.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. Yeah, we can have a think and let me know. But I'm sure we can come up with some fun little kind of discussions we can put together.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I think that's everything, Fazan.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
And thank you, viewers. I know the only Cryptic came on, but feel free, if you want to re-watch this, feel free to put on some comments and we'll respond. So thanks for watching another week of Venu's Cricket Catch-Up. We'll see you all next week. Stay safe and watch lots of cricket. See you next week. Bye.